It's no secret that celebrities of the Hollywood music industry legends make a lot of money. So much, in fact, that they can afford some amazing real estate. Ellen DeGeneres, for instance, is well known for buying, renovating, and selling houses all the time. But did you know that despite all those house flippings and moving boxes, Ellen is one of the famous celebrities who owns more than $100 million worth of real estate as of today? Well, welcome to Mega Luxury. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss amazing videos from us. Let's take a look at their properties and do a little daydreaming about being able to afford just one of these luxury homes.
Bam!
Will Smith. Net worth $350 million. Will and Jada bought a $7.5 million 100-acre property in the hills between Malibu and Calabasas in 1999. Over the next year, they bought several nearby lots to put together 150 acres of contiguous land. On this land, there's a 20,000 square foot Santa Fe-style main house, several guest houses, a private lake, a horse riding ring, equestrian trails, stables, tennis courts, and much more. In 2013, they quietly listed the property for $42 million, but did not find a buyer. Today, this property alone is likely worth $50 to $70 million. In 2015, Will and Jada bought a 7-acre oceanfront compound in Kauai for $10 million. They sold it in 2017 for $12 million. In 2011, the Smiths sold another oceanfront Hawaiian property, also on 7 acres, for $20 million. The Smiths also own a 9,000 square foot home located in a gated community in Hidden Hills, California, and a 9,200 square foot ski chalet in Park City, Utah. Ellen DeGeneres, net worth $400 million. Like I said before, Ellen is a serial house flipper. Since 2003, she has bought and sold more than 20 properties. Just in 2019 alone, Ellen and Portia, her wife, sold 3 properties for $6.98 million. $15.5 million and $23 million respectively. It all started back in 2003 when DeGeneres bought a house in the Hollywood Hills for $6 million. 3 years later, she sold the 4-bedroom, 4.5-bathroom property for $9 million to Will Ferrell. The following year, she bought a mid-century modern-style house in the Hollywood Hills nicknamed the Tree House. Due to the 2,000 square feet of outdoor living spaces, she paid $1.271 million for the home. A year later, she sold the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom property for $2.1 million. In 2007, DeGeneres and DeRossi bought a $15.75 million mansion in Monticello, California. They didn't stay there long though. Later that same year, the couple sold it for $20 million. The following year, they bought a 9,200 square foot home in Beverly Hills for $29 million. DeGeneres and DeRossi got married at this house. In 2011, they bought Brad Pitt's former home in Malibu for $12 million. They sold it a year later for $13 million. In 2014, they paid almost $40 million for a Holmby Hills home called the Brody House, and then sold the lavish property for $55 million just 6 months later to Sean Parker. In 2018, they bought a mansion in Beverly Hills for $15 million. Less than a year later, they sold the 5-bedroom property for $15.5 million. That same year, they paid $6.7 million for a ranch in Santa Barbara. They sold it for $6.98 million to Nickelodeon president Brian Robbins in 2019. In 2019, the couple bought a 5-bedroom, 12-bathroom, newly renovated mansion in Beverly Hills from Adam Levine for $45 million. For what it's worth, Levine is also a bit of a serial house flipper. Jay-Z and Beyoncé, net worth $1.5 billion. Beyoncé and Jay-Z own an extremely valuable portfolio of real estate assets around the world. When they are in the United States, the Carters can be found at a luxury apartment in New York City, a mansion in Westchester County, New York, or a waterfront villa in Miami. In 2008, they purchased a 7-bedroom mansion on the ultra-exclusive Indian Creek Island in Miami for $8 million. They sold this home in 2010 for $9.3 million. Beyoncé also owns a $2.6 million home in New Orleans. Jay-Z owns a $10 million apartment in NYC that he bought solo in 2004 for $6.85 million. In 2017, Beyoncé sold her longtime NYC condo for $9.95 million. She bought the condo in 2005 for $5 million. In 2017, Beyoncé and Jay-Z together paid $26 million for a mansion in the Hamptons called Pond House. In 2017, Beyoncé and Jay-Z together paid $88 million for an insane 30,000 square foot mansion in Bel Air, California. Public records show that they took out a $52 million mortgage when they bought the house. Using the mortgage rates that were available at the time, Bey and J are likely paying north of $250,000 per month on their mortgage for the home. That has a full basketball court, 2 acres of land, a 15-car garage, media room, multiple pools, and bulletproof windows. Together, they own a $4 million private island in the Bahamas. Kanye West, net worth $3.2 billion. Kanye West owns around $120 million worth of real estate in the US, land, buildings, and homes. Kim and Kanye's former primary residence is a large estate in the Los Angeles suburb of Hidden Hills. This estate consists of multiple connected parcels, the first of which was acquired in 2014 in 2 separate transactions for $23 million. The first iteration of their property featured a newly built mansion on 4.5 acres. They proceeded to spend millions of dollars over several years customizing, rearranging, and expanding the home. In 2019, they expanded their estate by buying neighboring properties in 2 separate transactions to create a conjoined 7.5-acre estate. A staggering $28.5 million has been spent on real estate transactions alone to create the Hidden Hills estate. Tens of millions more have been spent on renovations. Their Hidden Hills estate current assessed value is north of $70 million. Kanye also owns a 320-acre estate on Stokes Canyon Road in Calabasas that's worth $16 million. This is where his Sunday services have been held and where he attempted to build a series of domed structures before being shut down by LA County. They also own a $15 million 6,700-acre ranch called Bighorn Mountain Ranch in Wyoming, a $14 million 1,400-acre ranch called the Monster Lake Ranch, and a $2 million commercial property in Cody, Wyoming. Oprah Winfrey, net worth $3.5 billion. From 1985 to 2015, Oprah's primary residence was a 9,600 square foot home in Chicago, which she sold in 2015 for $4.625 million. She also previously owned a penthouse in Atlanta, which she sold in 2008 for $1.8 million. Arguably, her most impressive real estate asset is a 23,000 square foot mansion in Montecito, California, which she purchased in 2001 for $50 million. Today, this home is worth at least $90 million. In 2016, she purchased a 23-acre farm estate also in Montecito for $29 million. In 2019, she bought the house next door for $6.85 million, which expanded her Montecito footprint by 4 acres. In total, Oprah owns 67 acres in Montecito. Oprah also owns a 43-acre estate on Orcas Island in Washington State that she purchased for $8.275 million in 2018. In 2014, she spent $14 million for a home in Telluride, Colorado. Oprah bought her first property in Maui in 2002. Over the years, she has spent as much as $60 million to piece together 160-plus acres in Maui. She spent $32 million in one transaction alone to buy the property next door. In total, Oprah owns hundreds, potentially over 1,000 acres of real estate in the United States, with a minimum value of $200 million. If you enjoyed this video, then I'm sure you're going to love to watch our video about the top 10 stunning homes built into nature on our channel. Make sure to click the subscribe button for future notifications and never miss our videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, stay tuned.